Test, test.
What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
What's up, everybody? 11:06. Okay, I made sure to hit the button this week, so I'm pretty sure we're all set here. But just in case, confirm for me that I am not talking to myself. Okay, yeah, good. Thanks, Cone Killer. Yeah. A lot of people talking about when that time is. That time is always about to be that time until it is that time. And it's that time now. All right? So we're here. Sorry for coming in a little bit late. It was the reaction on the second channel went a little bit longer than I thought. So, but that's one thing that I wanted to talk to everybody about as well. And of course, we're going to get into everything that is 11:06. But I had a thought, and I want to gauge everybody's opinion on it because for the past couple weeks now, I've been putting the reactions on the second channel. But I want to know how many of you in here, like the core people, miss the reaction here. I'm still going to pre-record it, but would you like it if I took the pre-recorded video and put it in front of this particular live discussion stream so that it kind of feels like the old style? It goes the live reaction and then we go into the discussion even though the live reaction is pre-recorded, or keep it separate. And we'll have a poll, and I'll kind of like let that poll live for most of the stream. And then, once I'm done making this poll, we'll get into everything. Shout out to Flondimon. Flondiman said, "What's up? It's that time. Let's get it." Yes, let's get it. Brandon King stealing what I was about to talk about. Well, I wasn't going to talk about 990 chapters from Little Garden, but I was going to talk that, it's close to Little Garden. I was going to mention that Brogie's birthday was 2/1, which is very much so. Math piece in action. Oda does this, okay? Last year for 1074, which was the chapter that came out this week, Vivi was at the end of the chapter. Her birthday's 2/2. So it's like math piece, birthday piece, it's real. It is real. Third Eye Guy, Michael Lacoste said, member, he's a member for 30 months. He said 30 months is a long time. Wow. 30 months is a long time. And I appreciate the loyalty, my man. I appreciate you. Yeah, get in on those math piece stocks. Eric Veltri, he's on top of it. He sees the vision. Sees the vision. Can it be used to correctly predict all the time? No, not always. But when it happens, you can see where Oda was coming from with his vision. One second, guys.
another one.
Okay, made the poll that I was talking about. Shout out to K-Pro N for being a member. We're stronger together. Appreciate that. Ace2532, member for 18 months, said, the moment I saw Dorian Broggie, I lost my mind. All we need is Vivi, and I'm convinced she's arriving before February ends. Maybe next chapter. You know, that would actually be a really great way to flip the math piece, right? Because when we saw Dorian Broggie last year, it was at the end of February. So and we saw Vivi at the beginning of February. So if we see Dorian Broggie at the beginning of February and Vivi at the end of February, and that would actually time out too with Vivi's reveal that she is Princess Vivi. Miss Wednesday's reveal that she's Princess Vivi. Oh. Get hype, people. Get hype, people. That first Dorian Broggie chapter where we saw them behind Shanks and Elbaf, that was the last chapter of February 2023. So, if Oda flips it that way, and it's 1,000 chapters from the Mr. 5 and Miss Wednesday calling Vivi out. Ooh. Early Ascension. Little garden stocks are way up. Luke thinks that Mr. 3 is going to pilot the ancient robot. Yeah, Candle Champion Ancient Robot Edition. I mean, look, the dude held back Magellan. Let's just give him everything. Let's make him the most powerful person in the verse. Like, that's why Mr. 3 is seriously one of my favorite characters in the story. Because he's so unassuming. And ended up being one of the most important and key characters of the entire pre-time skip, saving Ace and making sure that they actually got out of Impel Down. Like, the level of feats that Mr. 3 has had, they're buggy level. I mean, that's why they're together. Oh, man. I did not hear about Scanner and Leaker Bus. OP Scans got Leluciad. So Shueisha like cracked down on them and they got DMCA'd or something. I mean, look. We're official now, so I can't support the the scans and everything, but I do understand, and for many years did like if I could get the chapter as early as possible, like yeah, that's that I mean that's also how it was growing up with the series 20 years ago. It was just like there wasn't really a way to get it official like there is now, but the spoilers and just how early everything comes, it's a pain. It's a pain. It's like, woe is me, I'm official. I have my own stances on it now that I can't, that most people aren't going to care about. So it's just like, it sucks, but it's also, I don't know, maybe for the best. I don't like the competition of it also. When you have like multiple people doing it at the same time, and then it's the race to get, the fastest one out, then you're missing things. Some translations get wonky. It shouldn't be that. We need to appreciate the story for what it is. And spoilers have always ruined things. I wish that could stop being the case, but Japan is still about, sending printed copies everywhere. So they're sending the copies out to the storefronts, and then the storefronts have them a week early, and they don't put it on the shelves until Sunday. But somebody in those back rooms that isn't really get paid much is just taking photos and everything, and that's how you get your spoilers. That's how you get your scans. Let's Gabriel Hogan's asked what was my reaction when I saw the Giants. I loved it. It was amazing, and I really loved how they were gassing up Luffy, though. Like, they pulled up and they said, "This is the Sun God," which, that's something that we definitely need to talk about today. It's, how do they know, right? How do they know? Now, I have my own answer, which I think is the right one. But there are probably, there's three answers, I think. The three answers, the two less likely ones are, they saw Luffy's bounty poster and was like, "Hey, this looks like everything that we've heard about our Sun God." The second option is, they saw somebody as old as Jorel or something, and 300 years old, and they're like, "He's returned." But the easiest answer, and the thing that I feel is most likely, is that these guys got a download from Shanks. Because as we have been saying for years now, Shanks knew what he was doing. And ever since Nika became revealed, it kind of opened a more planned side to everything. Actually, I mean, I would go as far as to when we got the lore that, the ship, that the fruit was on that government ship, that the fruit was eluding them for 800 years. So I truly feel that Shanks has had a plan for decades now with all of this, and I think it all goes back to Roger, that Rayleigh knows about this plan, Crocus knows about this. Like, this is all stuff that happened at Laugh Tale. And the most important line in this chapter is that people have been waiting centuries for Nika to return. So why wouldn't all of these stocks be on Luffy? The moment that Shanks tells Dory and Brogy, "Hey, Luffy is the Sun God," they're like, "That's our god." I like, they pulled up. Dory and Brogy are back. This is the end game. It really feels like the final saga for me now. And you want to know what my true reaction to seeing Dory and Brogy was actually bittersweet, because it's what settled in the idea for me that we are at the end. Because everything in this story is culminating and building up towards the Giants, because that's what Oda's main inspiration for this story in the first place was. So to see them coming back in such a big way that isn't tertiary like with Shanks, but actually, first person, A story with Luffy, not B, C story, anything like that, that means, like, Oda is ready to start giving us the game. And with Vegapunk getting stabbed and on the verge of potential death,
you loyal.
That means that we are going to get a lore dump from Vegapunk before he goes, if he goes. Do we get a Chopper feat? Vegapunk, gets healed by Chopper. I don't think so. I think we need Vegapunk to die now.
Savage.
And I always said that Vegapunk could die. I just said that he wouldn't die specifically on Egghead, and I'm still going to stand by that. I think that he gets off the island and dies en route or in Elbaf. We get a Viking funeral. Shout out to DK, 1993, member for 13 months. Said, amazing chapter, amazing Sun God. You're all welcome for my birthday chapter being awesome. Happy birthday to DK. Want to see those birthdays in the chat. Birthday button. There it is. Happy birthday to DK. Dawn Night 1993. My guy. Max B was in the King of Lightning top 50 stream yesterday. He said, Randy, your shark teeth Nami pick on the Cole stream was hilariously savage. Well, you know, savage just isn't a phrase, it's a lifestyle. You need to live that. You need to breathe that. You need to bring that to the table when it is expected, but not only because it's expected, but because it is innate to you. We live the savagery. You invite me, someone who's not a power scaler, to a power scaling stream, you better be ready for what I'm about to bring. So anybody that had an issue with any of my picks, that's your own fault. It was a fun stream, though. Shout out to K Pro N. Appreciate the super chat. Said, bro, Kuma just put the whole story on his back like it was no big deal. Yeah, we need to get into the Kuma of it all and the Bonnie of it all. I mean, we got some gigantic news, which was not anything that we directly predicted on this channel, which is what makes it fun.
Savage.
Raging Filthy Casual. Sub Captain, sorry, quote. Forgot which article it was. Yeah, I got sent that. It wasn't anything that someone asked me to quote. They just sort of pulled what I had previously said on Twitter. But yeah, trust. Thanks, Steve. Randy King said, Randy, wanted to get your thoughts on this theory. In Water 7, we have a Jim Carrey reference with Frankie. What if we got a second one? As an Usopp giant tie-in, Soge King mask, like Mask of Loki, like the Mask film. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Oda's definitely a big Jim Carrey fan. And the earliest Jim Carrey reference in the story is actually Mr. 2. So it's like Mr. 2 was Dumb and Dumber, also Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey, the tutu from Ace Ventura and the haircut from Dumb and Dumber, and then Frankie is like also is like a mixture between Ace Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So that's he's a huge Jim Carrey fan. Shout out to Mackerel. Thanks for super chatting. They said, I didn't think it was going to be Dorian Broggie that came. Thought it was going to be Hajradin and the new giant pirates. Now go squish Saturn like the insect that he is. That's actually a lot of fun. We've been talking about a giant foot coming down on Saturn, right? What if it isn't Luffy, but it's actually Dorian Broggie? Or what if it's a tag team of Dory Broggie and Luffy's giant feet all coming down at the same time, squashing Saturn? Now that's fun. I do like that. I was never about the Grand Fleet and all of that. We spoke about this last week, and I know Miles thought I was, targeting him. I wasn't. It's just it's all fun. But the basic thing about it is, I needed something that had story relevance. And Dory and Brogy do have story relevance because we're going to Elbaf next. So if it's them particularly, then, you know, we may get the thing I've been talking about some sort of giant thing carrying the Sunny out of this. Because it was supposed to be Vega Force 1, but now we have the ancient robot waking up again. So is it going to be that? Because the ancient robot is a direct reference to Tetsujin 28 and Gigantor, known for carrying ships. Like, you know, you look at some of the posters and like iconic imagery of Gigantor. It's always holding a ship, similar in the way that we were introduced to I'm already calling him Gigantor. I mean, they painted him the same way in the anime. Vega Force 1. In his intro, he's holding up the ship. So, do we get that replayed with the ancient robot, or now with Dory and Brogy? Because theoretically, they could also hold up the Sunny, and it would not dwarf them. So, yeah, some fun stuff there. Funhouse super chatted and said, "Why is Nika laughing while Vegapunk is dying?" I mean, does Luffy know? Does he know? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's... I don't think he can stop. You know, I think that's part of it. But, I mean, my favorite panel in this chapter was the Bonnie reaction to it all. Superficially, because, like, I've always had an image of that for one of my own projects. Different, you know, not looking at Nico or something, but like the main female character positioned exactly like the panel, looking up at something related to my story. But so like Oda took the framing from my mind for that, but also showed me that it does work. Nomad Vagabond said, "Randy, please make an effort to be with the spoilers. Release your videos and reviews early. I cannot do that. Even if I wanted to, I can't. I am tied to... I can't. What? Like, I'm tied to the live action now. How does it look if someone that is tied to the live action is like publicly doing spoilers? Like, and I've never done spoilers anyway. And I you know, yeah, we've done scan content in the past, but I can't go back to that. So this is the way it is. And does it have a negative impact on the channel? Sure. I mean, when we were doing scans, like, we would have 600, 700, 1,000 people in here sometimes. We don't have that anymore. And I get it. You know, I'm talking about the stuff days after everybody else. But, you know, that's why we have our core community here. And, you know, if we can grow naturally from that in some sort of way, then, you know, that's the... that's the way to go about it. I'm coming up with some new content types that I'm gonna try, that, you know, to try and give the channel some new life. But I mean, that's just what it is. And I appreciate everybody that is here and that, you know, still supports, even though I am talking about something that's been talked to death for 5 or more days. Do we know if there's a break or not? No. Luke said, "Honestly though, what a great chapter. Only gripe, I love and hate the Pacifina Feast of Bonnie bit. I love it thematically for what it means for the Vegapunk to reveal, but it just felt too Deus Ex Machina for me." We can get into that. It is... It didn't feel Deus Ex Machina for me. I actually, like, I really like it. It's just a trope that Oda has been playing his hands with a lot in the past 5 years, because it's just the Tama thing all over again. And also, in the past year, we had the same thing with Atlas. You know, it's just this back and forth and everything, and it is more so who was going to be at the top of the authority to begin with. A lot of us thought it was going to be Dragon. Conversations with Vegapunk and Dragon, all of that implied maybe Vegapunk was a secret Revolutionary Army member. Not the case. But, I mean, this is meaningful. It's a payoff for everything that we've been going through with Bonnie and Kuma. And I actually think it's beautiful. I think it's really well done. I think it's, you know, as blasphemous as it is to say, given all of the, you know, the, you know, the Tama hype that this channel had for her to join the crew as the apprentice. This particular version of this, a young girl giving an order to a group of beings that can be controlled, you know, interchangeably pacifistas, seraphim, and animals. This is the best version of it. And it's the version that holds the most weight. Yeah, there's a break? Okay, great. So what that means is Davey Backfight Cross Guild video will release during this break, because the video is done and I've been waiting for this next break. I'm excited for everybody to see that. Shout out to Music F3B, who said, why do you think the Giants are pulling up? Because Luffy is Nika? Question mark. Sent by Saul for Vegapunk or Robin? Sent by Shanks for some reason? I would like it to tie into their own beliefs of the Sun God, and then naturally bring us to Elbaf. If Shanks, you know, knows more than he's letting on, he may know that they need some help, but he doesn't want to get involved yet. I think that Saul is better kept at Elbaf. I mean, it would be interesting if he's, like, hanging back on the ship or something. I mean, it would be crazy if Saul is with them. You know, it's like, wow, we thought these guys were dead for 100 years. And then Saul appears. We also thought this guy was dead for 20-something years. 22 years, I think it is. The link to the second channel isn't working. Everybody says that, and I don't understand how to fix it, because it is what it is. It's, you know, youtube.com/RandyTroyVods, and or if you know, do a Google search on YouTube for Ran D Troy, D like Monkey D Luffy, Ran D Troy, the second channel will come up as that. Muglaton supered and said, every single Buster Call has had Giants fight against it. O'Hara and Saul, Ennie's Lobby had Oimo and Kashi, and Egghead, Dory, and Brogy. How did no one guess the reveal? With all of the Ennie's Lobby parallels here, that's, you know, it's kind of a duh thing. I mean, when we talked about Shanks being a possible thing to come, I included Dory and Brogy with that, just because we saw them with Shanks. So, but singling them out is better, and it is more thematic, especially when you consider the Oimo and Kashi thing as well. And considering that Oimo and Kashi were under Dory and Brogy, I kind of expect them, now that we're talking about it, to be with them. They should be with them. They're part of their crew. So Oimo and Kashi should be there. Shout out to Lucy B, super chatted 10, appreciate it. If you have time, Melon Tree has a vid about Vivi. Shout out to the Drawk show and his mom. She is a philosophy and literature teacher. She is having a field day with One Piece. Her takes are amazing. I've never heard of the Drock show. But if someone has a great video from them, please put it in general in the Discord, and I will check that out. The Melon Tree video on VV I did watch, and I did like the takes. And I've seen a couple of Melon Tree videos. I think her, analysis stuff is really, really on point. And I appreciate that Melon Tree found the, some of my favorite moments and the moments that I talk about as, why Vivi's a great character. Most of those were brought up in that video. Jacob said Randy was absolutely hilarious on the Cole Top 50 stream. Thank you. Did I see that some Japanese fans were slandering Megumi Ishitani? She said that changes from the manga to anime are necessary due to the difference in media. What kind of differences is she, talking about? Because, the same could be said for live action. Difference in media, changes are, some things don't work. It's a little bit different from, manga and anime, but it's also a literal thing. Like, you are changing it because you're making it move. So I don't know what's, I don't actually see the issue with that. How in the world is Mama Drock theorizing that Luffy was the sun god from back in Little Garden? I don't even think they mention, worshipping the sun in Little Garden. I feel like that didn't come until the Big Mom flashback. Shout out to Ace2532, Super 10, appreciate it. Said, I'm incredibly curious how Bonnie having supreme authority affects the Seraphim. S-Bear will likely follow our orders, but what about the others? They're also pacifistas, but don't look like whom. Yeah, I actually hadn't thought about the ramifications for S-Bear. But yeah, she should be able to control S-Bear, maybe not the other ones, but definitely S-Bear, which is interesting. See, the thing with this is it makes Bonnie almost overpowered, but it does wonders for Bonnie for Straw Hat for those that are on that side, but it also does wonders for my side, which is Bonnie for Revolutionary Army. If Bonnie travels with Luffy and the gang, they never have to worry about pacifistas because Bonnie will always turn them to their side. Which may invite... Somehow, they would have to, create clones of somebody else now that doesn't have those, authority chips. Offense-istas, instead of pacifistas, you need to get ones that aren't pacifists. They're all based on Akainu now. But that almost feels cheap in a way, but I love it for the Revolutionary Army. As they're doing their little coups here and there, even at Marijoa, Bonnie is there spiritually continuing the idea that Kuma is a revolutionary by having all of these Kumas ride with Dragon and essentially continuing to take orders from Dragon. Okay, Proan said, I got some tin foil when you're ready to go. 3 parts, in case I'm cheap. Bring that tin foil. Let's go. What did I do with the tinfoil hat? Because I,
You're
moved
loyal.
everything around recently. Just pretend I have it. Cone Killer Confuso, a member for 15 months, said, I want to see Bonnie name each pacifista pet's names. That's fun. Give them all names. Yeah, because I mean the S-Hawk, like blah blah blah, only really works for, when you take into consideration that it's more of a play for Centauro and what he stands for as a stand-in for the folklore that he represents. Shout out to K-Pro N. I wasn't expecting the big drop. I appreciate that. W's in the chat for K-Pro N. Super chatted 50. Thank you so much. Said Tinfoil Part 1. Kuma was right, plus Dorian Broggie. They placed their faith in Luffy. Quite a few people have placed their faith in him, thus placing their faith in his dream, all while wishing for a new dawn. And who can bring a new dawn? Sun God Nika.
Savage.
Tinfoil Part 2. K-Pro N. They literally willed Nika into the world by believing in Luffy. Even Kaido wished to be defeated by Nika. He did this. I have something for that. Tinfoil Part 3. For a grand total of some lavish bracket activity here from K-Pro N. Continue those W's. The world government trying to suppress Nika actually created the need for him to exist. Now it is just a matter of which came first, the fruit
Savage.
or the dream for a new dawn. All right. We're going to continue this tinfoil trend because I'm going to build on this. First, let's check out the activity. I do believe in very lavish behavior. That's correct, Cone Killer. I do believe that Nika was wished into existence, and that I do believe that belief is a key part in Luffy's strength. And I guess that this is spoilers for like the new series that I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to get into everything about it, but I'm going to my goal, and it's going to be, there's a lot of research that goes into this kind of stuff, so these videos are not going to be, popping up each week. But I'm planning on doing a series on Oda's inspirations. And one of the first videos that I'm going to do is Peter Pan. And I'm going to go into every reference in the story that, revolves around that. And I actually believe that Nika embodies this as well. And we got into this a little bit in one of the previous chapters where I did compare Nika to Tinkerbell. And, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean that in the idea that fairies, which are something that are already in the story as well, are built on by belief. I do believe now, and I mean, it's common thought, that Luffy did die and that he came back. And the anime kind of sold this for me as well, in that it really, more so than the manga, made an effort to make everything seem like it landed on Nami. Like the way Nami stood up to Kaido, and the way that the crew was unrelenting about this idea, and maybe even this truth, that Luffy had died. It wasn't until Nami stood up to Kaido and renounced that Luffy could die that Luffy came back. And in Peter Pan, you know, Tink dies, you know, quotations, and it's belief, and when you see the stage version, it's claps, you know, that bring them back. So, in a similar fashion, I think that's what we have here, that there's some sort of collective energy in the world that has been waiting for this moment. And you have people like Dorian Brogy, the people of Elbaf, worshiping the sun god, or, you know, sun god's gonna come, the sun god's gonna come, and you've got Kuma teaching this to Bonnie as well, you know, this new era. And then you have Roger, Rayleigh, Crocus, and the gang, they all went to Laugh Tale, and they said, we're too early. Because the Chosen One hadn't been born yet. That's what this is all coming to. And it's even sold even more by what I said earlier was the most important line in this chapter, which is Vegapunk saying that people have been waiting centuries for his return, meaning that there is documentation that Vegapunk has been able to unearth that says that at some point, maybe even specifically a date of 800 years later or something, that the sun god will return. That there is a prophesized time. That there is an element of destiny, an element of fate here. But it's, you know, maybe a little more nebulous, that it's like, not only is it the prophesized time, that it has to come through this belief. So it's like, don't stop believing, and it will happen. But for all the people centuries beforehand, just not in your timeline. Sorry. And I just saw Ty came in. It was like perfect timing. It must have been when I hit lavish bracket. Shout out to my guy Ty. Chin said, ultimate tinfoil theory from Randy. If you build it, they will come. Yeah. How's that for an answer, K-Pro? Did that that fit what you were looking for? Ace is out of here. Appreciate you. K-Pro N. A man only dies when... ... He's forgotten. I love it. Music F3B, 100% agree with your theory. It's kind of like how the crew manifested the Waterman just by loving the ship. Exactly. 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 We in here, people. We in here. We figured it out. We're at the end game of the story. Les super chatted. I appreciate it. Said, I believe Kid is dead. That is my best case scenario. I think it's the best thing for the story if he is. There's no... You know, there's just nothing to... What are we doing? What are we doing if he comes back? This is, I don't know. It's a waste of panel time at this point. But if he isn't, Les says, I think it'd be cool if Jailed Kid told the Giants of Luffy's transformation and then they left for Egghead. That is interesting. I do like that. That is a version that I didn't consider, but I do... I want it to be Shanks. I want it to be Shanks that told him. Because he has seen Luffy's poster, and then immediately was like, okay, the time is now, let's get the One Piece. Like, it's basically like, okay, finally, he transformed, like, Nika's back. This is what Roger told me about. This is what Rayleigh told me about. This is what we've been waiting for. This is why Rayleigh trained Luffy in the first place. This is why Shanks gave up his arm. they knew what this fruit was. They just didn't know who it was going to go to. Maybe Shanks wanted it for himself. Maybe he was looking for Ace. But it found Luffy, and Shanks realized, oh, I don't get to choose this. The fruit does. Mark's MBG said Nico Robin's birthday is on the 7th of this month. So we could be getting some good Nico Robin stuff in the next chapter. But it'll probably still just be her sitting in a... on that slat. But if it was... if Saul is on the ship, I mean, that would be a nice birthday present for Robin. Catching up. Clarifying my comment about Ishitani a little bit, Leo said recently... Oh, I don't remember. Oh God.
Savage.
I see. Okay. You guys can read that on your own.
Savage.
Yep. I'm right there with you, Cold Killer. Brandon King said, tinfoil theory. The man Charlie predicted would destroy Fishman Island was Damalo Black. She just thought he looked like Luffy. That would be Duval being the, visage of Sanji's bounty poster level for me. 00 Flevence, that's a good name there, said, can we as readers manifest Dragon getting off his keister? I have been manifesting that for a long time, and he's still looking east. Shout out to Ty.
Savage.
The original lavish man. Appreciate you, Guild Ty Zoro. Came in with the giant dono for the return of the Giants. Sorry, I'm late, Captain. Happy belated anniversary to the Troys. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah. Chrissy and I just had our anniversary. We had a good time. Said, I saw an interesting point about how could York not know about the true command hierarchy. Curious. Missed y'all, Savage Crew. Missed you too, man.
Gotta have it. Rex, I gotta have it. Beat my fabric. Do you see this jacket? Pay my taxes. Trust me, you can track it.
This is a good point. Ty's making a good point. That means that just as he kept things away from Saturn, he kept things away from himself? That's wild. Right? Or specific parts of himself? Like, I feel like Shaka would have known. That's a potential plot hole until it's addressed. I like that, Ty. I don't have an answer for that. I just, like... I mean, other than the logical one, which is just like, yeah, he kept it from all of the... he kept some secrets to himself. In the same way... Well, how about this, though? Vegapunk and the other satellites didn't know that York wasn't downloading her consciousness in. She was hiding things from them. So, to that point, I guess I could buy Vegapunk hiding things from the others. It's still tricky. It's still tricky. Oh, wait. He cut his head already. They were already built. So maybe they don't know whatever he would have known after he already created them. That's the answer. That's the answer. Because he already was a split head, like Foxy, by the time he made those satellites. When he pulled the ripcord on Kuma, the Tell Her I Wish Her a Happy 10th Birthday chapter, and he's crying as he pulls the lever down, he does not have his gigantic head. So they wouldn't know, because why would he sync himself with them? Why would he give them his memories after? It's all about them sharing stuff with him, not him sharing stuff with them. I think that's the answer, Ty. Shout out to Javits Arias, Super 10, appreciate it, thanks. Said, I think Kuma will survive Egghead now. In the final war, we'll have all of the OG warlords plus Weevil. Well, I think the final war will definitely have, the warlords for sure. But Kuma's not surviving. Kuma's not surviving. We've already got... Not only is this a archipelago parallel, this is turning more and more into the Enies lobby of the post-time skip now, which means that we need a Mary. And right now the Mary candidates are Kuma and Vegapunk, so... That's how I feel. Muglaton. With the Buster Call getting clowned on so thoroughly. Any chance of the world government sending the Mother Flame to destroy Egghead as the arc's ticking clock? Absolutely. And I've said from the beginning of this arc that whatever victory we have here, I want it to be Pyrrhic. They may get out of here, but at what cost? And like, how epic would it be if the sky starts raining the Mother Flame and it's like Dorian Broggie or the Ancient Robot carrying the Sunny away, like trying to get away in slow-mo. Vegapunk is already, up at, potentially on the verge of death, watching his entire creations and everything that he built crumble, which is a terrible way to go out. It's a terrible way to go out. But, so that's already Pyrrhic in its sense. But if the Buster Call fails, then what's to say that Egghead can't just be rebuilt? So it has to get razed to the ground, and the only way to do that is by the Mother Flame. So I think it's got to get to a point where it's just like, all right, all of these ships are gone. We cut back to Emu, and it's just like, Egghead. It's not close. I can't see it happen, but whatever. Chin said, the Kid crew were stronger together. They were not together, Chin. They were everything but together. Especially Heat and Wire. Shout out to K Pro N. Super chat at 20. Appreciate you. Said, how about that Kuma was right comment? I took it as meaning even though it looks like Kuma might have been bamboozled, everything he did led to this pivotal moment. All of his decisions were correct. I love that moment as well, because also the panel of it, I'm pretty sure that's the panel where it looks like Kuma is realizing. It's portrayed as like he's shorting out, but yeah, it's the same panel. So when you see Kuma was right, it's Kuma like on the ground looking up and seeing essentially what Bonnie is seeing. And you know, I actually, you know, I was talking about the Mary of this arc, and I think it is Kuma. I think it's Kuma.
Savage.
Just had a thought. Because Kuma hasn't said anything yet. So it means that Oda is saving whatever he's going to say for the end, and it's going to hit as hard as I wish I could have carried you a little further. Ah, God. So it's going to be something where he's able to push through all of the programming right before he dies to let us know that it really was him the whole time. Oh, man. Luke said Weevil stock's pretty dang static. Yeah, I don't know. Weevil's been in the mud since his introduction. I love everything that this arc does for Kuma in the first place because of what you're saying, K-Pro. Like, it's like, we had the chapter where Kuma was the main character going through the pre-time skip and setting everything in motion for what we're dealing with now. So, and Kuma was right, is what makes this chapter a payoff chapter, not a setup chapter. This is a payoff chapter. That's why this chapter is so good, because everything that came before it was just build up. And another reason why it was so good is because it wasn't 12 or 14 pages. This chapter was like, what was it? Like, I don't know, between 16 to 18 pages. 17 pages, I think. Yeah, 17 pages. It's the first chapter in a while that was an actual, like, full-length chapter. But not only that, like, we are getting, like, key things here. It wasn't all stuff that's building to the splash panel at the end. It wasn't set up just to, like, give us a moment to talk about, which is just one page. There are things in this entire chapter to talk about. The fact that Bonnie can now control all of the pacifistas. We could spend, you know, an entire, 20 minutes to an hour just discussing the ramifications of that. What does it mean? Bonnie is for Straw Hat, Bonnie for Revolutionary Army. Will they deactivate all of the pacifistas to make sure that this power doesn't become too broken? Or is she really taking these pacifistas to, with her throughout the world? This is the equivalent of everything I said about Tama joining and then going to Ruskaina and picking up all of the, like, really powerful beasts. You don't need that anymore. You got Bonnie and a bunch of Terminators. Come with me if you want to live. It's like, which...
Come with me if you want to live.
Then you get Vegapunk getting stabbed, which is another big moment that's going to have ramifications for, months, if not the entire year, and could potentially lead to the actual death of Vegapunk, which is its own ticking clock. This chapter proves that Egghead is not going to be much longer. Like, this is the climactic moment. We are chapters away from this ending, which means that my thoughts that I've been talking about for months about how we're going to get to Elbaf by at least 11:15 to be 1,000 chapters from Little Garden looks good. And with Dorian Brogy here, looks even better. We've got Luffy back into the fight. He just popped up off of Snake Way. It's too bad that, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, and Piccolo all got hit before he got back, but hey, he finally made it. Hits Kizaru back in the mud. the Bonnie realization. Like, these are not throwaway moments. You know, I can't do this. Like, the last chapter was great too, but I can't do what I'm doing right now for the last couple of chapters. I can't call out these like major moments. This is what Oda's been building for. I mean, we had another payoff chapter pretty recently too. I think it was 1104. The chapter with the hug. That was 1104, right? Like, that one was that was a payoff chapter. But this panel of Bonnie looking at Nika, I'm sorry, this beats Bonnie looking at the memory bubble. That was like one of if not my favorite, most memorable panel of 2022. This is that now. And also around this time. Like, this is, I think, just a, you know, on the issue scale, a chapter or two after Bonnie found the memory. Vegapunk's a line that they've been waiting for centuries. I think people are going to sleep on that line. It's confirmation that all of this Nika stuff has been planned. This Kuma was right moment that you're talking about, K-Pro-N, it's the lead-in line to the most important line of the chapter. In fact, you could even say it's part of the same line. The Buster Call is futile. For centuries, people all over the world have been waiting for him. The amount of gas that this chapter puts on Luffy in the first place? Insane. He is a divine being, and we need to realize that. And then the splash panel at the end, just to, like, this chapter could have ended with Bonnie looking at Luffy. It could have ended with Bonnie looking at Luffy. And, like, you could have put the to be continued with Vegapunk saying for centuries people all over the world have been waiting for him. But then Oda was like, nah, let me give you one more. Let me give you...
And another one.
And we got Dory and Brogy at the end. Gassing up Luffy even further. We're here for you, Straw Hat. Or should it be the Sun God? So they know, so we can sit here and theorize how they know and what the implications of Shanks telling them means. This chapter is amazing. This is sensational. This is the Oda I know. This is the Oda I love. This is the Oda we've been waiting for. This is what we're here. This is it. This is... Woo!
久しぶりだな
Oda, you're back. I went on a rant. Let's see what the what the chat's saying here. Okay, Proan Superden said smile on his face, bro. My face or Luffy's face? Whose face? Ooh, last words for Luffy? You're important, mister. Oh. To Kuma? That's Miles, you're speaking my language. You know how much I love that line, so having it come back. Les said, we don't need Mary, we need Bon Clay, and he lived. I don't mean literally Mary. I mean a spiritual replacement post-time skip Mary. Yeah, I'm not saying that the Mary's coming back. I'm saying that some character, likely Kuma or Vegapunk, will be the spiritual Mary of this revised version of Enies Lobby here. Oh, that's fun. Luke said, yo, what if that's how Saturn dies? Emu sacrifices him in a Lelucia level attack for failing to destroy the Straw Hats. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Ooh, Brandon, I don't know if I like that. As a parallel to Aokiji joining Blackbeard, what if Kizaru is forced to leave with the Straw Hats? That would be wild. I don't want Kizaru on the Straw Hats. I don't know. No. He either dies here after helping us, or he goes back and is a threat that we have to contend with later on as well.
Savage.
Black Man Who Laughs said, I think Stella dying, but the satellites survive. I think if any of the satellites survive, it's only Lilith. I think the rest go. Oh, yeah. K Proan said, Kuma, when he dies, would have smiled to confirm he wasn't fully gone. Like that one smile that we got from him, the iconic smile. Bartholomew D. Kuma. I mean, for everything that he's done, like, he might as well be a D. You know, this man is literally an enemy to these gods here by pushing the good book and the good word of Nika. Daz said, brings up questions like, does Anel know about the sun god from the moon people? Similar entrance as Dory and Brookie later. That's wild. Anel comes down, he's like, I'm sorry, bro. I know I was like talking big game, calling myself God, but I'm here to render services. I'm bending a knee. You are God. What's up? You need me to throw an L Thor? Because I got you, Pat. I got you, fam. Like, I got these L Thors for you. I learned everything that I needed to learn in the fairy verse. Yeah, I'm here for you. Like, the switch up would be so crazy. If Kizaru dies, he would be the first Admiral death. Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Old Green Knees supered and said, Captain, are we saying Sunny can't sail? Are we saying Sunny is getting the Polar Tang handling? The Victoria Punk treatment? New agenda acquired? Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but I am saying that I would like to see the Sunny get damaged. Only because I believe that it's something to give Frankie to do when we get to Elbaf. Like, I think that the Atom Tree or, you know, similar things and all of that, like, they have to be at Elbaf. And if that's the case, any repairs that the Sunny would need would be getting the best wood in the world. And it's an even more of a plot thing for a story thing for us to go to Elbaf, because we need repairs, and like, you need a specific wood to repair the Sunny in the first place. So that's a fun concept for me. I'm not saying that it's getting the full Polar Tang hand treatment, but like, hey, the Kuda burst doesn't work, and you know, parts of the bow are kind of messed up here. We're gonna need some serious repairs, but it's not the hull, you know. It's stuff that can be fixed, but just not quickly.
You
And
loyal.
that's why they would either need the ancient robot or Dorian Brogy or maybe even Morgan's blimp to kind of lift them out of this area. That's what I want. So yeah, in my headcanon, if I'm not being clear about it, I don't want to see the Sunny sort of sailing off on its own. I'd rather see them get help. Zigzag said, it would be ironic if the evil Lilith goes with the good Straw Hats and York goes with the evil Blackbeard. I mean, we've talked about York with Blackbeard for a while, and we still need to understand what obviously is going on with the Blackbeard pirates being in the vicinity here. And if they snatch York, all the better. I think she fits in with their crew. K-Pro-N said, all right, I'm off to Costco. I made her wait. She's getting tired. Have a good day and the rest of your stream. K-Pro-N, I appreciate you.
And another one.
Thanks for all the fun ideas. And hopefully we'll see you for 11:07. Brandon King said, Randy, my idea about the egg is that the egg gets destroyed, but the Straw Hats get a mini egghead egg on their ship when they go, carrying on his will, but as their Rogers ship's egg. I heard you like eggs, so I put eggs on top of your eggs, so your eggs have eggs on their eggs. All right, this is how we pimp Luffy's ride. Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we? I liked it. I wasn't opposed to having an egg on the ship. My thing is like, I feel like if Egghead gets destroyed, I think the egg is like an antenna. And I don't think that Vegapunk can be too far away from that antenna. I think that's like the downfall of him chopping his brain up and creating the satellites. And if the egg that would go on the Sunny or something could be like a portable antenna type of thing, that would basically like, you know, have an island's range and would allow him to, you know, continue existing by, you know, like say the other satellites get killed. What if every one of them that gets killed, like, is already draining Vegapunk because it's a part of him that is dead now? You know, it's not like he's getting the brain and putting it back in his brain. Like, that's just gone. So, I don't know. I see something like that as a possibility. So he's slowly fading because he's getting further and further away from Egghead, or he's slowly fading because his connection to the rest of his brains have been destroyed. But for whatever plot reason, someone like Lilith is able to move freely. I don't know. Sanj Saab, member for 26 months, said, getting in pretty late, but what a goddamn hot chapter. Woo! Yeah. Huge. It's a gigantic chapter. Epic proportions. Luke said he's been sitting outside Trader Joe's on his phone. Should probably go in at some point. Get your food, man. Get your food. Put some headphones in. There has to be a reason Frankie's poster is now Sunny's face. Yeah. So I think that there will be a reason, and I hope we find out sooner than later. I just don't necessarily know how to tie it in, though. Unless Frankie legitimately turns the Sunny into a mech, and then he is, that's the the superior Battle Frankie. Man, that would actually be really, really cool. Like, if he was able to turn the Sunny into a Vega Force 1 level fighter. I mean, I don't know how smart it would be to use the ship in that way. Like, I think it would be pretty irresponsible for Frankie in case it was to, you know, to get further damaged. But to have a giant, like, because I don't know if people really understand exactly how big the Sunny is in the first place. Like, I think it would be Vega Force 1 level. No, not Vega Force 1 level. Obviously, because Vega Force 1 held the Sunny in its hands. But if Frankie was able to use technology from Vegapunk to create something that was like half the size of Vega Force 1 or something, that would be pretty interesting. And then it would really just be Power Rangers. Megazord. Like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. Shout out to everybody in here. Get these likes up, people. 0011 super chatted and said, Egghead, Tamago, Big Mom coming back, full effect. Well, I can't take credit for this, but, you know, and it doesn't seem likely now, and I also wasn't about the Grand Fleet coming in, but apparently people were saying that the Grand Fleet were going to come because of specifically Orlumbus's flag, which is two eggs split, sort of like Egghead, which is interesting, because apparently there's a famous story with Christopher Columbus and an egg. DK's out of here. Appreciate you, man. Enjoy the rest of your birthday, and I'll catch you later. Old Green Knees. Crazy question, since Bonnie's power is permanent on objects. If she had the Mary or any broken ship, could she revert it to be fixed? No, but in my mind, she could do a thing like Frankie-like future, and then enter a parallel universe where she learned how to become a shipwright, and then would be able to fix the ship as long as she was using her power to gain that skill. Because my headcanon is that her power is everything, everywhere, all at once. So she can just jump into the timeline where she would have spent, you know, a decade or 2 decades learning how to do a skill. Miles is still here for Caribou swamping up punk records. The mega church with 144p welcomes Luke with open arms. Terrible TJ's feeling the Megazord vibes. I know some people wanted the Sunny to get a Devil Fruit, but I don't know. I mean, it's a ship. It would sink, technically. Like, I feel like just because it's a ship wouldn't mean that it would bypass the curse. So, you know, I know that some detractors to Vivi getting the Niku Niku is that, oh, well, the Sunny gets the Niku Niku and then it can teleport wherever it wants. Well, I guess if it never has to touch the water again and it just goes from island to island and like lands on islands, sure. But if it needs to sail on water still, it would sink. So that's where I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it gets a devil fruit. And I also like the idea of what Frankie said in Dressrosa, where he was like, nah, I don't need a devil fruit. I like swimming. And I feel like he would probably be against giving the Sunny a fruit too, because he wants it to sail the water to Laughtail. So, you know, that's his dream. So I think that that would actually, like, hurt his dream. But I do still love Hidden's idea that Frankie could infuse himself with green blood, so he would get temporary devil fruit powers that he could turn on and off by just, like, opening up and, like, putting in a bottle of green blood. Like, that'd be cool, and then suddenly he has Senor Pink's power. It would be kind of like taking the whatever they called that thing in The Boys. So it's like a temporary hit. Miles said, I know we love the idea of Vivi getting Kuma's fruit, but what if she gets the Nomi Nomi no Mi? Look, man. Alright. There's enough jokes about Vivi's forehead. Don't need that getting all the way to the sky, man. Terrible TJ, I like the idea that there are mechanical versions of the ancient weapons and that they can be called and assembled like a Megazord. Think of the Straw Hats docking during Thriller. You know, if docking became, you know, one of the key things. Well, actually, I mean, technically, the reassembled Joy Boy theory is built around the idea of docking also. So I'm on board with docking being like an end game thing. You know, Oda made it a joke, but it was like, you weren't looking deep enough. That's some Oda stuff right there, yeah. Brandon said, speaking of Randy, the egg fruit gotta be one of the weirdest Zoans. Yeah, that one I still don't, you know, completely understand. I think that's just, you know, Oda being weird. Oh, it would absolutely have to be that, Brandon. Imagine they all dock and Robin agrees this time. I mean, I do like, you know, I mean, that's a little bit of growth, you know, on Robin's part, but I do like the gag that it works either way. You know, it's like, you'd get the smile like, oh, she's doing it. Yeah. But you'd also get the laugh. It's like, oh no, she's still Robin. Yo, Hidden. What's up, man? I actually just mentioned you. I don't know, like 2 minutes ago. I was talking about your Frankie Green Blood thing, because we were talking about the Sunny and, you know, because I'm Paw Vivi, but other people are like, oh, the Sunny should get the Paw, and I'm like, it's a ship. It needs to sail the Grand Line. Frankie didn't want a devil fruit. I think it would negate his dream for the Sunny to have a devil fruit, because it would also sink and it wouldn't be able to sail. But then I said to that I still love the idea of Frankie, like, infusing himself with green blood, like as if it's, you know, like a temporary hit from the boys. Yeah, like, I'm all on board with that. Hidden said, okay, Randy, your Dory and Brogy placement on your tier list yesterday was an insane observation hockey call out. Yeah, bro, we've been, what was it? We've been in that chat for like a month. Like, I made my list and I didn't go back to it. But I was, regardless of 1106, like, I came in ready to gas up Dorian Brokey. So if you weren't at the King of Lightning top 50 stream, I had Dorian Brokey in my like top 25. It might have been like, they were either like placement 21 or 20 or something. Like, I seriously think that Oda has it in his mind that these are two top tier characters. And you know, Little Garden has those hints. And if they weren't there for 100 years, there's no telling where their bounties would be. Hidden said, oh man, I'm totally with you on their placement. I was gonna put them on my list too, but was afraid of hinting at the latest chapter.
You loyal.
Yeah, it's funny. I was like, I was looking at some comments from the stream also, and people were, people were saying that my whole list was recency bias. And like I now know what they were like referring to. But the thing is like, my list wasn't recency bias. Most of my list are people from the early parts of the story, because that's what I think Oda means for it to be important to the end game. So it's like, it's not recency bias. It's actually the complete opposite of recency bias. It's my idea that everything in the first 5 years is what's important to the last 5 years. Shout out to my guy Ty, member for 19 months, who said, with Egghead coming to a close, could the thing that shocks the world simply be the revealing of Saint Saturn and the ancient weapon that gets used to destroy Egghead? I do think so. I think so. Or the death of one of the leaders of the world. I mean, it would be crazy if, like, Morgans gets a glimpse of Saturn in his form and then spreads that around the world and becomes one of the most wanted men in the world for doing so as well. So he doesn't listen to the government. I'd actually love that. An overhead shot of this thing and everybody's looking at this paper like, what is this?
In a lavish bracket, gotta have it.
Shout out to Container Productions with the lavish bracket
Do
activity.
you see this jacket? Pay my taxes. Trust me, you can track it.
Appreciate you. Container Productions continuing the trend that lavish bracket super chats have to start with "Sorry, I'm late." If the Giants know about Nika, is it possible that Hajradin mistook Usopp for Nika? He did free the slaves in Dressrosa and fought unconventionally. That's a good take. I like that. But I also think that it speaks to the idea that I think the giants of Elbaf, to begin with, as a people, probably know about the prophecy and are just always waiting for someone to be that savior that they're looking for. So they're just maybe that's just like a quirk that they have, where it's like, you saved me. Maybe you're the one we've been waiting for. You know, it's sort of the aliens from Toy Story mentality, the claw. Oh, I've been chosen, you know, and then it's just like, now Shanks has said, no, the chosen one is actually Luffy, and Dory and Brogy are just like, I gotta see this again. Ugh. So I do like that though, and I think that it also speaks to the greater tie between Usopp and Luffy as well, and I think it's just, I think you're onto something in a way that we'll be able to, at the very, very end game of the story, figure out that there's something more to that connects to this. Hidden said, I think Dory and Brogy are top tier fighters, no doubt. Yeah, and I think we're ready to really find out what that actually means and why Big Mom was gassing them up in the first place. But back to finish out Ty's thing, I think it has to be something of that level. It has to be like the complete destruction of the island, the reveal of Saturn, the death of Vegapunk, the death of Kuma, the rise of Luffy, you know, the world finding out that all 100 of these ships were taken out. Could also be a thing where they blow up the island and say that Luffy did it, right? To spread even more propaganda that we have to, you know, fight. And then that's a good way for Vivi to come in, who is a trusted figure in this world. And people would believe her if she came out and said, no, this is the truth of everything. Yeah. Drop those W's in the chat for Container. I want to see more W's than that. It said pre-time skip list, Randy. Yeah, I've got Croc over Dofi. Always will. Even after Dressrosa. Doesn't matter, because I've got Marineford. And those stocks for Croc are high. You know what else is high? Crocodile's bounty. He is the true emperor. Saeed said, just a tip, his name is pronounced Hyrodin. I thought it was Hajradin. I thought you were supposed to, like, really roll that J. Hyrodin. Let's see. Will of Dreams said, I want Eldath to try and make Luffy fast for the winter solstice. Big Mom #2, God of Destruction. Give me me. You know, that's actually a really fun idea. That if they get there during the winter solstice and literally because he's fasting, he is losing whatever fight he's in, and he needs to eat, but none of the giants will let him eat because it's the winter solstice, and then it's a situation where it's like, guys, you've been waiting for him. You've been waiting for this. You've been fasting for him, and you're denying him to save you. So it's like they have to like break their own mold and mind on everything and kind of like be like, oh wait, yeah, give him all of the food. That's a really good story point for Eldath. I like that. Yeah, that's almost like video worthy. I think we'll be talking about that for some time to come, especially if we get to a point where we find out that it is the winter solstice when we get to Elbaf. I love that. I love that idea. It creates like the highest stake problem for Luffy, especially with Gear 5th now, that he has no access to food, and it's already been set up with Big Mom's flashback. I love that. Hidden Island. What do you think the greed incident involving the Straw Hat Grand Fleet will be? Unless Sai turning Charlos into an accordion was all it was. No. And I did not have my stocks towards it being this. I think the great incident that the Straw Hat Grand Fleet should, what I want it to be, is that they stage out Impel Down 2.0. So in a hypothetical scenario where Law gets captured or something, I feel like we still need one more central character to go to Impel Down for it to really work. Breaking out Weevil, breaking out Doflamingo, like that's just fan service. There needs to be somebody that goes there that is actually important to the Straw Hats. And if that happens, I could see Luffy sending an order to the Grand Fleet to break them out. And then it would be, this large-scale thing that really dismantles the entire structure of Impel Down. Maybe Marco's involved as well. Maybe Marco's the one that gets captured. Like, I would buy that Luffy would do that for Marco. There's not many characters that I feel like he would, but, that gets Mr. 2 back into the story, gets the Doflamingo family back into the story. And I think it's something that it's like, what did Luffy do pre-time skip that he doesn't need to do post-time skip that they can do? Also relating to the idea that pre-time skip, the big incident and catalyst was Ace fighting Blackbeard and going to Impel Down. So if, and I always have to parallel it with that. So when we got that narration at the end of 800, 801, whatever the chapter was, and you go back to 440, I think, where Ace is fighting Blackbeard, at the end, it says, like, this is an incident that's going to shape the world. You go to 800, and it's like, after the Sun's Cup, they don't know it now, but this group is going to be responsible for an incident that's going to shape the world. So it's like, I gotta thematically tie these two things together, and the tie there is Impel Down. So it's like, that's what I think. I feel like the Grand Fleet will be responsible for Impel Down 2.0, releasing all of these people to play the role in the final war under Luffy's name. So spiritually, Luffy will be responsible for Impel Down 2.0, but it's his Grand Fleet that carries it out. And if Law is there, then Law can be sort of the central person of it, and then Doflamingo can be the crocodile, and then you would get like the balance of Luffy and of Croc with Dofi and Law. And it would also be really interesting, now that I'm thinking about it, if Bellamy is involved with this as well, and is also responsible for letting Doflamingo out, and then Doflamingo like actually gives Bellamy like a little bit of respect, but Bellamy's able to like shove it in his face, like, I didn't do this for you, I'm doing this for Straw Hat. Like, that's a way to really kind of full circle Bellamy also. I just thought of that, and I love that. Double O Flevance, super chatted 10, appreciate you, said, there's something poetic about Charlos wanting to be weighted on hand and foot, and then eventually becoming a vegetable reliant on assistance. Of course, unless he's really top 5 durability. I would love that, if he was a vegetable relying on assistance the next time we see him. Like, that would be fantastic. but it would also like the gassing and glazing on Sai and Leo's part for doing that when Luffy didn't with his punch would be wild. And I better see Sai and Leo have like astronomical bounties. Like they have to have the highest bounties out of all of the Grand Fleet. But I'm here for that. Please. And Hidden, I want to know what you think. What do you think the incident is? Derek Miles said Croc better show some hockey or there's no way he beats Dofi. I feel like Croc always had it. He always had hockey. It's just, it was a product of being an early villain.
Savage.
Catching up here. What about Robin fashion drip on the crocodile cover, Randy? I called it out in the reaction. You know, I was like,
久しぶりだな
catching up on the chat here. Ooh, Brandon said, plus it being winter signifies the start of Ragnarok. Ragnarok begins with Thimble Winter. Ooh, I think we just figured out the setting for Elbaf. It's going to be the winter solstice. Luffy's going to have a tough time fighting whoever he needs to fight because they won't let him eat. I love that. I think we got some good video ideas out of this stream. Everybody will be shouted out accordingly. Hidden said, yeah, I like that because it goes well with the Impel Down inversion you've talked a bunch about. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want. Saeed said, the J is pronounced with an I or Y sound, like Mjosgard or Mjolnir. Ural. Hoyrden. That's tough. And said, I need Dofi out of jail now. He'll be out of jail. He'll be there for the final war. Oda's not gonna miss out on that fan service. That's why we need Impel Down 2.0. Honestly, if it wasn't for Dofi being there, I'd say maybe we don't get it, but it's actually entirely because Dofi is there, and then I feel like he needs to be there for the end game, that he'll get out. Lucy said, who is your top one, Randy? On the King of Lightning stream? I mean, spoilers. Oh, God. You don't want to watch the 12-hour stream to find out? It's my number one is Shark Teeth Nami. Shark Teeth Nami solos the verse. Okay? We even saw how she low-diffed Luffy into a cage in chapter 1060. 1061. Or was it 1058? Whichever one. When we got all the bounties. It was 1058, wasn't it? And said, to be honest, I'm kind of lost regarding the incident. I was banking on the fight with Kaido burning Luffy's Viva card, and ever since Wano, they'd be on their way and making a late arrival at Egghead. Yeah, like, in theory, with having 100 ships here, it feels like, oh yeah, we can bring the Grand Fleet here. But the problem with this is Egghead has always felt like an isolated thing for me. If we weren't going to have them play a role in Wano, where we already had all of these different factions playing a role, this intimate arc doesn't feel like the one where we're going to get the Grand Fleet. Elbaf, on the other hand, if we're having this battle royale against all of the emperors, if the Cross Guild is there, and Blackbeard's there, and Shanks is there, and it's a battle for the One Piece at Elbaf, then having, you know, like an endgame style thing where the Grand Fleet pulls up for that feels a little more appropriate, or more likely when we're going to Marijoa and it's like, okay, we're about to topple the government. Here's the full force of the, you know, the Straw Hat Pirates, which is the, you know, the parallel to Whitebeard having his Grand Fleet, which I think is always the safest bet and the Occam's razor of what the Grand Fleet will do. So for me, I want the Grand Fleet to do something that has nothing to do with Luffy, in the same way that Ace versus Blackbeard had nothing to do with Luffy also, and still influenced the story. Said, I could see the Grand Fleet coming to Elbaf, especially since Shanks has been having territory war problems with Barto. Yeah. What I would like, actually, if they came to Elbaf, then I would want the moment where Luffy gives them the order to go to Impel Down. Because if they go to Elbaf and they find out, like, oh, so-and-so is now in there, and we're doing all of the Elbaf stuff, and we're getting ready to go to the final war. But first, we need to get the One Piece, right? So then it's a situation where we've had the Grand Fleet in Elbaf, they played their role there, Luffy, you know, standing on a giant mound or something, yells down to his, you know, 5,600 troops and says, go to Impel Down, break out so-and-so, and dismantle that. We're going to go get the One Piece, and we'll meet you at Marijoa, because then we're going to take down the world government. Barto versus Crocodile, Leo? No. Mr. Prince versus Crocodile. Shanks' fleet gets washed, but he's got the Puddle Pirates, bro. Don't sleep on Ribatini. Don't sleep on Ribatini. Number one is off-screen Blackbeard. So you gotta separate the top 30s, top 50s. You gotta have off-screen Blackbeard, and you gotta have on-screen Blackbeard. So off-screen Blackbeard, totally like yeah, he's up there. On-screen Blackbeard got washed by Magellan. That's lower, right? On my list, yes, I had Magellan above Blackbeard because we saw on screen Magellan wash Blackbeard. Lucy said mine would have been Luffy. Luffy was 6 for me. Two entire Yonko Grand Fleets clashing on a high seas battle would be insane. Never really been done in One Piece before. Didn't Oda say in like a recent editor comment or something that it's like, it's hard to draw a naval battle when the people on the ships are stronger than the ships themselves, so it's like they would just be fighting in the air and all this other stuff. So that's the thing, but that's why it's interesting if it's the Grand Fleet versus like somebody else's Grand Fleet. So it's like Orlumbus and, you know, the Yanta Maria is shooting at the Puddle Pirates or something, like, then I buy it, because it's like it's not a thing where I really expect these characters to start, you know, using Geppo or something to fight in the air or jumping onto the other ship. Yeah. Emil said, I kind of hope for Yamato to appear at Elbaf at some point. Too many wolves in Norse mythology. The only way I would see that is if Blackbeard went to Wano, acquired Pluton, but also kidnapped Yamato and Momonosuke or something and brought them to Elbaf. But even then, I'm like, what's the story purpose for that? I feel like we need to go back to Wano at some point, even though I don't want to. But I don't know. I'm not going to sit and theorize about when Yamato's going to come back into the story. I'm going to let Oda tell me that, and if Yamato never comes back into the story, then I'm okay with that too. Saying there's a chance. Maybe? I would like 2 to 3 arcs before we go back to anything Wano related. And we're still in the first one. I just want... I'm loving the focus on just the Straw Hats, and I like what Bonnie is adding to this arc and everything is way more interesting, better, thematically relevant, magical, moving than anything that Yamato did in the entirety of Wano. So in retrospect, I don't think that Yamato is a good character. And I'm sorry for the Yamato fans in the chat. I think it was a last-minute addition, creation by Oda. When you go back and you reread Wano, other than stalling Kaido, they didn't really do much. He just said over and over again, he's going to join. Just a bunch of different realizations about this. During the reread, it became very vapid. And once you've finished the arc, it's just...
You lying? Why you always lying?
So that was a f***ing lie.
That's it. There are better characters. And if you like Yamato, that's cool. That's cool. I know Yamil does. Yamil, you're my guy. Sorry, I see the tear in the eye. Just... Carrot is a better character than Yamato. Like, is Yamato an awful character? No. I mean, there's some redeeming qualities, but it's like, there's so many better characters. And like, I think in these few chapters, when you take all of Wano into consideration, these few chapters of Egghead, you cannot tell me that Bonnie's character development isn't better than Yamato or Carrot. So it's like, when I hear people say Bonnie for Straw Hat, even though I want Bonnie to join the Revolutionary Army, I see where they're coming from, I see the vision, and I'm like, yeah. Because it's the same mentality that I had when I was thinking Tama for Straw Hat. But it doesn't matter. It's still gonna be BB. Kips said, hot take, Randy. It is a hot take. It's one of my hot takes. One of my hot takes. And, I don't want to, alienate people by, saying that I don't like a certain character that much, but that's, I enjoyed Yamato while everything was going on. And then in retrospect, when I started to think about it, and then I thought about it from a story perspective, it just, I feel like somebody pressured Oda to create the character, and that in the original notes for Wano, Yamato was not there. And then I think about, what we could have gotten from characters that were already established. I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time about it. But it's like, Marco should have been the one holding Kaido back on the roof. And Denjiro should have been the one protecting Momonosuke the entire time. That's it. Because it's like you spent all of Act 1 never telling us about Yamato's existence at all, but setting up the Denjiro and the Kyoshiro thing. So, and then you're building up Marco coming over this long time, and you had him, hold off Big Mom, which was cool. But then Marco didn't really do anything, and Denjiro didn't really do anything, and it seemed like those characters fell away. And that's something that, when you're juggling characters, you have to be really mindful of who you let fall away in the first place. So, because Oda had to do all of this work to build this character from the ground up in the, third act of an arc that already had 2 acts, there was so much that he needed to do to get Yamato to a similar place, and when you go back and you read it, my opinion, hot take, my opinion, it just felt forced. That's all. I'm not going to continue talking about Yamato. Kip/Seaway said, I need to see Zoro fight Lucci. I think we need to get an update on that in 1107 for sure. That, that's, I think that's almost a guarantee for 1107, because we've spent too much time away from that. And catching up with Robin feels right, and a reaction from the Straw Hats to finding out that Dory and Broggy are there. Sans Luffy. Luffy's too busy. But, Nami would have a reaction. Usopp would definitely have a reaction. And we are in the process of potty training Mars, and Chrissy just came in to let me know that Mars successfully went. Maybe TMI, but that's what's going on in my life. So anyway, proud dad moment. I missed it, but that's awesome. Yeah, W's in the chat for my boy. Oh, wow. Jacob said we need a comprehensive Wano review, Captain. It would be filled with a lot of hot takes. I think that Wano had some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows in the series. So, I think if I did a comprehensive review, I think there would be people that would agree with me, and I think that there would be people that would be like, Wano was amazing, everything was perfect. And then I'm like, was it though? Was it? Hami said Tama for Straw Hat. What? I guess you weren't around for that. That was an era. And there was a lot to it. There's a lot to it. As the apprentice. Yes. There was a time where it was Tama and Momo together, Shanks and Buggy of the Straw Hat Pirates. Zigzag is definitely digging into the the barnacles of the barrel, but yeah. Thanks for those W's, guys. Taihi said Zoro off-screened Lucci. That would be wild. That would be wild. No, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it. Luke said, not to mention Zoro wrecked a Yonko first mate. I don't see how he's having trouble with Rob Lucci. I think it's more so just gassing Lucci. Like, now that he's awakened, like, he's a beast. I had to, you know, you gotta respect it. I think that Zoro is stronger than Lucci, but I mean, it's high diff. He's not low diffing him in the way that Luffy was. Where's Stussy? Maybe still with Jinbei. I mean, that's something that I'd love to get an update on as well. That's a character that has fallen away in this arc. You know, talk about like characters falling away. Oda, I think, is forgetting what the role of Stussy is supposed to be, and I still don't know if we've found Stussy's big moment. Taking out like one-shotting Lucci and Kaku was really cool and gave us the opportunity to capture them, to then release them, to have them help fight us, to then skip past all of the fighting and all of the development there to now they're back to being villains. But to have that turn work, I feel like before this arc ends, we need one more thing from her. Or is she just taken out by Lucci now when he did that hit on her? She has such a broken ability that I feel like it should come into play. I think it would be really interesting if she appeared out of nowhere and tried to use her power on Saturn, but it didn't work, and then Saturn killed her. Like, that would be interesting. It would be a great display of power, and it would be another example of Vegapunk seeing something that he created being destroyed. Stussy connects us to Morgan's. Ooh, that's fun. Yeah, so when we see Stussy again, she's actually having a conversation, and we learn that Morgan's and Vivi and Wapple are on their way because Morgan's and Stussy are talking. I love that. That's fun. That's a way of connective tissue there. We get Vivi into the story. Yes. Viper said Zoro probably beat Lucci in no time but got lost with directions, and then Container Production said Zoro was already on Elbaf. Yeah. They're like, we don't know where Zoro is. And then they get to Elbaf and it's like Karoo, and they, like, at the end of Whiskey Peak, Vivi's like, where's my duck? Where's Karoo? And then it's just like, you mean this duck? Like, someone on Elbaf's just like, you mean this guy? Yeah, he's been here for weeks. Yeah. Somehow, Dorian Brokey will reach Egghead before the Blackbeard Pirates. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this is something that, you know, like, I really want to understand and I want to know too, is how come they don't see Blackbeard's ship? Like, 24 hours ago, we saw that it was there, so now this is the thing that I'm interested in knowing about, is what is the timeline and the time difference between what happened on Hachinosu and here? Because I would actually buy, because I feel like it was implied with Absalom's fruit, that if Shiryu is with them, and this is a geographical thing, this is a timeline thing, like, because it may just be Devon and Lafitte, but if Blackbeard is actually with them and Shiryu or something, and they're just waiting in the wings, could Shiryu, like, awaken and then they don't see the ship because he's made it invisible, right? So they've been there the whole time, but all of these hundreds of ships and all this other stuff don't see Blackbeard's ship because it's invisible. It's the only thing that makes sense to me, but I feel like a lot of that stuff with Garp and Shiryu was supposed to be portrayed as happening concurrently, meaning that all of those people on Hachinosu wouldn't be involved in this, and technically all of those people involved in what happened on Winter's Island may not be involved in this as well. So it has to be like a separate ship, a separate faction. But I don't know, that's what doesn't make any sense. Is there some area of Egghead where Blackbeard's raft could dock and they don't know where it is? I don't know. Leo said maybe Devon can transform other things too, with leave some rocks like Kinnymon. See, now that's actually that's a really interesting idea, because it's a way for it to actually differentiate the fruit from Mr. Two's fruit and put it to a whole nother level. So, like, not only can Devon change the appearance of herself, she can change other things and other people. Now, that's fun. Whereas Mr. Two can only change himself. If Devon, that's how you make that fruit not just a duplicate. Because now Lafitte and Devon could be running around as, like, Marines, or, you know, it's like we're looking for one traitor, but what if it's multiple Straw Hats or other, you know, allies have actually been different people this entire time or something? Now that's where things get interesting and spicy, and I like that, Leo. That's one of the best things I've heard about Devon's powers ever. Yeah, I know that Absalom's power can be used to turn other things invisible. I mean, he also was able to turn Moria invisible, and that's how Moria got away from Doflamingo at the end of Marineford. So we know that that's the case, but it's more so, can Shiryu logically be here timeline-wise? Or because he was at Hachinosu for the Garp thing, was that happening at the same time as this, so he can't be here? Well, they can warp, but would they have Van Augur with them? That's the other thing. Container Production said they could warp. We need to know who was on the ship. And we need to know the timeline of everything. That's what's so confusing here, because the Winter Island aspect of it all, when was that? Is Blackbeard actually there? Or is this literally just Devon and Lafitte, the two individuals that we didn't see on either island? Chin said, like D-Stream, please. I agree with that. We'll probably be wrapping up pretty soon, too. we're already past the 2-hour mark. So taking a look at the looking at the poll from the beginning of the stream, we actually got 311 votes. That's some pretty solid engagement for that. 62% of people would like me to play the VOD for my reactions here at the start of the streams and then go into the stream. So I would record my reaction off camera earlier, and then when I come into the stream, I would have uploaded the video into OBS, start the stream, play the reaction, we'll have the chat going for that. When the video is done, then we'll come into it. And it would basically be like the old way of doing things, except I don't have to, I get to read the chapter a little earlier and not feel like I have to compete with Roger or anybody else earlier in the day. Have a little bit of a breather to think about everything, and then come into the chat with, you know, a little bit refreshed, but everybody still has the same sort of live feel. And then the first 20 minutes or so of the stream are the reaction like it used to be. Does that sound like, I mean, it sounds like 62% of people are into that, and then 38% of the people only want this to be a discussion-only stream and to keep the VODs on the second channel. Now, this is not a landslide victory here. It's a victory for the people that want the reactions at the beginning of the stream, for sure. But it's not landslide. I do think I want to try it and see, and that may be how we test 1107. And because it also, you know, I don't want to have to keep people bouncing back and forth. It is a little wonky. I'm trying, you know, I think it's the win-win, because it's like, it's not a separate video. It doesn't affect the algorithm. The stream is its own thing to begin with. So I still get to read the chapter a little bit earlier, which is the whole point of it. And then still put the reaction in the stream. Yeah. So we'll try that for 1107. We'll try that. It is now 61%. 7 people came in to vote and say that they just want this to be the discussion. Hey, look, we'll try it. If I don't like it, we'll try and figure out something else. I'm just trying to, you know, I want to keep the vibes. I want to keep the freshness of the channel. And, you know, we're algorithms are pushing me down, but, you know, look, we still have 200 plus people in here, which is awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody who hit like on the stream. Thank you, everybody that, you know, supports the channel. Like, it is, means a lot. So, then, since we're on break, do a theory for theory. Start dropping your suggestions in the chat for that. And we're definitely going to do a live premiere for Cross Guild Davy Backfight. And that's going to be a fun one. And for everybody that's in here, I'll actually tease you guys with some of the art that was made for it. I didn't preset this up, so I gotta. Let's see. This art is from channel artist Dan DiCarlo. He made this months ago, but there's been so much stuff happening in real life and different things in chapters that have just been pushing this video further and further back. But he really did some great work. He did a bunch of individual drawings. He did a thumbnail drawing, and then we also made a like volume cover style image, which is what I'm going to show you guys here, because I do love this. This is not the actual thumbnail, but it is my my favorite image from it. So let's see here. This image is huge, so I might have to resize it on stream. Let's see. Get excited for that. Yeah. That's going to be a fun one. Let's see what it love the responses, guys. Thanks for that. So maybe I'll try the old stream time. Maybe we'll do a premiere on Friday around noon Eastern time. Kind of give it the feel of the old days. And then the video will have a little bit of breathing room leading into the potential talk on, well, I mean, we're going to have a talk either way, but, you know, with whoever the guest is and with you guys. Do I think that Vivi will be kidnapped by Emu? I don't think so now. Brandon Arnold said Sawyer. We've talked about that a lot. I would love to have a conversation with Sawyer, but he is impossible to communicate with. Get your final votes in. I'm going to end the poll in about 30 seconds. So if you haven't voted in the poll to let me know what your thoughts are, now's the time. We've had the poll up the entire stream. We got a lot of engagement on it, and I will be ending the poll. Volume 1 is fun. I did reach out to them a little time before, but they couldn't make it. I'll see, you know, that might be something to see if they're available. Owen D said, hey, Randy, think the reaction is important to the community? It's our reaction to events that highlights them, and you bring that value with your initial thoughts, too. Thank you for, I appreciate you dropping in to, you know, say your piece there. And like I said, I think we'll see how it goes with 1107. You know, play the video and take it from there. Why not Roger? That's interesting. We haven't had Roger on the channel in a while. KevDog? No, we haven't had KevDog. We had him for the Reverie, but we haven't had him for a Theory for Theory. Grand Line Review. So the thing is with the, the Australians and the anybody located in Japan, we'd have to do a separate time. So I mean, if that, it would be whatever 8 hours from right now is in your state or country. I would have to do a stream with them then. Noah said the Jay stream was super fun. We all have plans to do more. Hey, look, I'm always down to collab with Jay. Usually we, we try to switch up the guest every break week. But we've had Jay on the channel a few times, and he's one of my favorite people in the community. So I'll always want to collab with him. All right, we are ending the poll. 334 votes. A lot of people saying Melon Tree. Is Melon Tree caught up, or are they still like reading and then doing analysis based on wherever they're at the particular time? Jacob said you and Jay have great chemistry, and he was loving your takes yesterday. The kid slander made him turn his camera on. Yeah. Jay and I do have similar takes because we're also Team Mamanga. Okay? JD Legend and I saw Film Red together. Right? And we both came out of Film Red specifically talking about Mamanga. Let me see. I don't know. Did I ever show you guys the little video that Jay and I did after we saw Film Red? Let me see if I can find that. It'll be off my phone and it'll look stupid, but it's fun. That was October of 2022. And Jay and I both had Vice Admiral manga on our top 50. Let's see. I've almost got it. Let's see here. I gotta make sure that you guys can actually see it. Does this work? Yeah.
Manga stocks through the roof.
Manga stocks, baby.
Yeah,
I'm there.
We cashing out.
No, cashing out. On Funny Coast tomorrow. That's it.
It was fun. That was a fun time. We were both loving the fact that like every Marine, except for Fujitora and Mamanga, like got affected by Shanks's hockey. Jacob said it's because Randy had Kid at like 40 on his top 50 and everybody was rattled. Yeah, and then in hindsight, I wanted to take him off because in my head canon he's dead, and I was like, why did I even put him on this list? So I wanted to replace him with the Seraphim, and then but King of Lightning wouldn't let me. And I also had Killer above Kid just to rattle people even more. Melon Tree is Australian. Yeah, that'd be tough. All right. I'll take all of this into consideration. I think that I'll probably reach out to Volume 1 first and see how that works. And then kind of take it from there. We'll figure it out. Discord, community posts, all of that will be updated there. Look out for, I'll be promoting the Davey Backfight video for sure this week, getting ready for a release probably on Friday. And then also we'll do the analysis for this likely tomorrow. And then I'm going to start getting work on the new series ideas that I have, while also fixing everything here in the studio, changing things around. I'm going to be paring my collection down a bit, so in future videos and everything like that, if you guys want to add anything from my collection to your collection, I'll have eBay links in the descriptions, and it's a way to support the channel as well. So Jacob said Kyros was there too, as he should be. People sleep on Kyros. People sleep on him. So, but that's it, guys. We're gonna wrap the stream here. Thanks again. Shout out to all the members. Shout out to everybody, and truly appreciate you all. I'll keep you updated. Works good, Chin. I am tired, but that's good. Jacob said the Randy's agenda was undefeated yesterday. Killer above Kid and Wiper being there was amazing. Wiper? Don't sleep on Wiper either. I had a lot of sleeper picks in there. Sleeper picks from the first 5 years that people are forgetting about. People want Nell to come back. I want Wiper to come back. Okay, that's my guy. Yeah. Yeah, we also got that. I'll probably do a stream for the Law versus Blackbeard episode 2. I saw the preview for it, and it looks nice. That was just the preview, right? The episode comes out this Saturday. Jacob said Kyros with 2 legs top 20. That's facts. 1 leg, I still gotta, I had him. I don't know, what was it? Low 40s, high 30s. Yeah. Cone Killer, that's wild. I don't know if we're there yet. We're on the other side of all that. But yeah. I did see that. Conqueror's Hockey on Blackbeard in the preview. That's wild. I don't know about that. I think they're glazing, and that has not been confirmed yet. Wiper plus Sea Prism Pebble plus Rejectile equals Admiral Yonko level. Akimbo Rejectiles. 2 Rejectiles. Wiper is soloing most people. Yeah. It would be so crazy if Wiper came back. Like, I would get hype. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. I'll update you guys. What a fun stream. What a fun chapter. A lot of things here to continue talking about, and we will. The stream is done. Later, everybody. Appreciate you.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.